Hey everybody, welcome to the Porn Hub. Tonight, we're going on location to the Left Bank Restaurant, downtown York, PA. They're having a little get-together, 18 people, for a bourbon, whiskey study hall. So you sit around, you sample some stuff. I don't know what they're going to have. Meet some cool people. Learn some facts and tidbits. And generally just have a good time. Buckle up, buttercup. Here we go.
But the biggest misconception I would say I found with bourbon is that it has to be made in Kentucky. It does not have to be made in Kentucky. It has to be made in America. For what we're going to be tasting versus the other whiskeys that we're going to be tasting, the most important thing to remember is this one is 51% corn. Well, at least 51% corn. I'm not entirely sure what Woodford's full mash bill is. So the next one we're going to be doing is Woodford Rye. Usually, the way I remember how a whiskey's going to taste is sort of like the breads. So, as you're making bread with different grains, the taste of that grain comes through into the bread. Cornbread is usually pretty sweet. You end up with a much sweeter whiskey if you have a high corn content. I've found, to me and a lot of other people, rye is spicier, has a little bit more of a bite to it. The next one down the line is malt. So this one I found is slightly divisive. Malt whiskey, a lot of people in their bourbons, they're looking for that nice sweet corn notes. Yes. And after everyone tastes the malt, I'll say what I get a lot of people telling me about it. But it's been different people telling me the same basic thing, why they don't like malt whiskey. But American single malts are actually the newest category of spirits. As far as I know, the requirements for American single malts are the same as bourbon, except for the mash bill is different. Opinions on malted whiskey. Hate it, love it?
Not my favorite.
Not your favorite?
No.
Yeah. No, it's sort of like a medicine.
Very light.
I'm a rye guy, so.
Yes,
Yeah, I like
and I found that if you like rye, you generally aren't as much of a fan
It's sort
of
of medicine-y.
malt
I
whiskey.
thought so.
Wheat is the next one we're going to be going through. So this one's not Woodford, it is Redemption. So it's not going to be the same exact profile.
It's good.
But this one is, I
Yeah, I noticed
believe,
that too.
a Bardstown product, but distilled by
That's right by Matt.
MGP. Redemption is an example of something that is bottled by a company, but made by a different company. Redemption's proof is 96, I believe.
Look at Eric.
Yes,
Proof.
96. Back to the bread analogy. For me, wheat bread has more of an earthy note to it, a little bit more neutral. I find that wheated whiskey goes really well in cocktails if you're not looking for that rye spice note, because you can kind of affect the taste of the whiskey a little bit more with wheated whiskey versus corn whiskey, where you get just a sweetness bomb. Talking about barrel finishes though. Next one we're moving on to is High West. So this one's a little more enjoyable for those of you that actually drink whiskey, but it is finished for 10 months in Grenache casks. So Grenache wine is generally going to be a much fruitier wine than, let's say, a Merlot. It is 49.4%, so 98.8 proof. Just under being 100 proof. My personal favorite baseline for proof point is 100 proof. Did anyone notice anything different with the cask finish versus the other ones?
Very sweet.
Much sweeter.
Yeah.
Usually that is what you find with cask finishes. So for me, it's whatever you like best is the best whiskey. So on to our last one. Highest proof point, most interesting one to me. I am always a fan of barrel whiskey. Barrel with 2 L's. This is an Indiana, Tennessee, and Kentucky whiskey. It has a minimum age of 6 years. It's at 114.62 proof. So this is at cask strength.
It doesn't drink 114.
No, not at all. If you have a well-crafted whiskey at a higher proof point, it does not drink like it's going to be burning you like...
It drinks as 114.
Oh God. Bacardi 151 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Everclear. High proof rums.
No, it sits
Those
on.
those
it sits on my
just sit there and burn in your throat.
So do they do the staves in that? Or?
Yeah, so this is a wood finish. This is not a secondary barreling. So they open them up and then add staves, sort of like the Maker's Mark process. If you have any more, I should have told you to do this. If you have any more of the first one and that last one, taste a little bit of the first one, taste a little bit of the last one.
Don't you think?
It'll give you
Yeah.
a range.
I didn't save any.
That you can fit into your flavor palettes. Any other questions at the moment?
$40. Good job, man.
Oh, God. You guys don't have any questions?
So earlier this evening, we were at the left bank, met a lot of cool people, fellow bourbon aficionados. And, of course, Sam, who runs these study halls there at the left bank. Very cool dude. But yeah, it was all around fun time. Tomorrow, these two guys are up on the fighting block. Local Throwdown Thursday. McLaughlin, Crooked Creek, both from out the Pittsburgh area. Until then, stay hydrated.